teamer.
Yes.
What do you think about just like beatable teamer? Is that teamer reclamation in a nutshell?
Yeah,
or?
teamer reclamation is beatable teamer, I would say.
All right. Well, looks like Diaz here, maybe in dire straits, facing against a 6/6 Hydrocrisis. Does have a Nissa of their own as well.
So this is the Nissa on the back foot problem.
Right.
See Diaz with that Sublime Epiphany in hand. We saw that one do some work earlier.
Yeah, not quite as good against an active Teferi Time Raveler because having it do a couple things at instant speed is a pretty big deal. But even still, next turn, being able to bounce a permanent, draw a card, copy the Landlord Visionary, and draw another card, that's pretty good. And that's just the floor.
Teferi Time Raveler shows up for Gkyzis.
The more I see Landlord Visionary, the more I like it. It just feels like it fits on curve pretty naturally. You know, normally 3-mana creatures that tap for mana aren't all that good in either limited or constructed. But here, just the fact that it draws a card and taps for mana is just such a boon for these mid-range green decks. Feels a lot like the old like Civic Wayfinder decks, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't search up the basic, but drawing a card is just like kind of better, especially because it taps for mana.
Yeah, well, it's better in some spots. Obviously, if you just want to guarantee the land drop, it's slightly worse, but it's still quite good. Interesting. No activation pre-combat with the Nissa.
Yeah, so the Crisis bumps Nissa down to 1. Post-combat, we see a land wake up. It's leaving up some counter magic. Dovin's Veto, Mystical Dispute, Ether Gust, all in hand.
Right. Okay, so what all can we do here with this Sublime Epiphany? Because it's getting countered. So I'm guessing it's just doing nothing.
Yeah, nothing is, I believe, what we can do with it.
Man,
we can.
Why you gotta be like that though?
Spend 6 mana, choose some modes, and put it in the bin.
Love a good mystical dispute.
I mean, when we talk about 6-mana blue cards in Standard, we've mostly been talking about Commence the Endgame, right? They're just very difficult to resolve.
Right. All right, well, looks like the Euro's going to come down and gain a little bit of life, but the life battle is not really what matters right now. It's about board advantage, and Themis seems like they're just in a huge advantageous spot, not only up a game, but just with Teferi Time Raveler on the battlefield. You know, this might be a little too much for Diaz to handle.
Nissa's going to wake up Ketria Triome. You see the requisite cards for Uro to escape are in the graveyard. Before we get to any of that, we're going to look at some attacks. Ketria Triome going for the Time Raveler. None of our Visionary considering joining, though. It's a little rough. You could guarantee you take down the Teferi, or at least hope to, right? But attacking a 2/2 and a 3/3, not pretty.
The Ether Gust should, on the Landlord Visionary, should seal that deal. Just a block of trading with 3/3s, because the land is still colorless. But looks like they're just going to let it go and just continue to hold up Veto and Dispute, and this might be the best play just because the Teferi static matters, but it doesn't like really matter. You know what I mean?
Teferi static versus having 3 active counter spells is like kind of the same thing, right? That's the old school Teferi static.
Right.
And yeah, this is a nice thing for Themis here, is he gets to leave up Mystical Dispute, you know? suppose that was true either way with Nissa and Breeding Pool, but also gets the advantage of Dovin's Veto, if it's called for.
Goes for the Gross Sparrow here. Oh, man.
Ooh, a Sublime Epiphany. All right. So we joked a bit about this card being countered. That's, well, actually, no, it still gets disputed. Never mind.
Yeah, this is still a GG. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. The game's over. Just a GG.
I was thinking about the 2 counter spells I remembered, and I stopped thinking about the third that I forgot about. But it was still there, it turns out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the fact that Themis just didn't actually fight over the Teferi and just had the rest of it locked up, I think that's just very smart play. But the game is not quite over. There's still another turn, at least, for Diaz, unless another Nisu Shakes the World comes off the top to deal that extra 3 points. But another Time Raveler should be enough.
And it's time for Diaz to span some emotes.
A good game. A good game.
We call that the end game. All right, so
smashing and bashing.
Clean up that Nissa. Come in for a bunch of damage. Diaz down to 6. And Gkyzis has 2 6/6 creatures and 2 3/3 creatures on the table, so probably feeling pretty good about this spot.
I would say that things are going pretty good. Things are going pretty good there.
Uro is going to attempt to escape.
That's not happening.
No. Unlikely. There is the GG. And we came into this match in progress. That's going to be the clean 8-0 for Themis.
Wow.
Gkyzis. Really impressive stuff from Ban Ramp. And